Ta-da. And waiting for it to set up. You'll get to hear me monologue every little thought that comes to my head. Well, definitely not every thought. That would just be way too many. Okay, so I'm going to come down to this broker. I'm going to come over here and straighten this out. Okay. I currently have my trade manager on here, but I'll go over that at the end. So what we're looking for essentially, guys, is I'm going to close this because that was just Jamie and I talking. If it will let me. So we can close it, baby. Come on. There we go. I'll take it. Okay, so just to start off with an empty canvas. Here are the rules, very, very clearly and very directly. Number one, you're never going to do this for longer than 3 hours, which means if you're up by 30 grand or down by 30 grand in a trade, you will have the discipline to walk away. So 3 hours is going to be your timer set, no matter how many times you got interrupted during this process. 3 hours is the timer set level of, okay, we're going to totally walk away no matter whether we're up or down. And right now you guys are up or down $3 and $30, but the real level of discipline and commitment means if you're up or down $30,000, you are still going to be so disciplined as a trader that you will hit close and you will walk away. You will never take more than 7 to 10 trades in a day. I don't care how much your winning streak is or how much you're winning, you will stop trading. And if it was me that you were asking, I would say 7. Especially with this many people looking at it, we'll probably end up having 20, 30 opportunities. But we have to stay disciplined. It gets really easy to get addicted. And then we get that euphoria and then self-sabotage. So too much psychology goes into that. I don't want to go into that. But 7 to 10 trades at the most, win, lose, or draw. That is the most amount of trades you're allowed to take in a single day. Granted, there's 6 technical trading days in a week. So next rule is if you take 3 losses, you are done trading. No matter how big or small, no matter how many great setups or revenge trades you can come up with, you are going to be so disciplined as a trader that you walk away after 3 losses. So those are kind of the fundamental psychological rules in terms of what we're going to be doing here. This is going to be using the 5-minute chart and the 1-minute chart. In order to do that, you would open both of them up, open 2 tabs with the same pair, and then simply click this button. It will drop them both on your chart, and there you go. It'll pull them both up. If you have other windows open, it'll close them. It'll open that too. You'll just have to minimize those and then refresh. That's how you're going to get 2 screens on your MT core. Now, this is super simple. I'll try to make it as simple as possible, but all we're looking for is this is the 50 SMA. This is the 3 and the 9 EMA. This is the MACD with the settings. I will go over one more time of how to put it on. But all we're looking for is if price is above and the 3 and the 9 are above the 50 SMA, and we have at least 2 fast MACD histogram bars above the 0 line, we're always looking for buys on the 1-minute chart. It is literally that simple. So that's all we're looking for on the 5-minute chart. Once we have that, we are officially ignoring the 5-minute chart and we're just going to the 1 minute. Now that we're on the 1 minute, as you guys can see, this qualifies. So right now we'd be looking for buys, only buys. So we come over here. We need our fast MACD to be above the 0 line. And all we're looking for is you have a couple of options. You can wait for the 3 and the 9 cross. That is considered 1 entry. A break of a fractal is also considered 1 entry. So this is an upward facing fractal. That means we'd be going in the direction. That's considered a late entry. So expect a pullback, just so you know. When we break the 50, that's considered an entry. When we form a downward, so an opposite facing fractal, again, that is an entry. But the best entry and the biggest entry you should be looking for at all times, ignoring the arrows particularly, is our fast MACD is up. We'll come back, we'll retest, something like this. So we were in a sell, we came back, retested, we're going to sell again here. We're going to sell again here. So this is what I'm looking for in terms of the MACD. I'm looking for it to retest that 0 line and then close on top of the slow MACD. I'm looking for it to, again, come back up, do a pullback, and then now again, we close on top of the slow MACD. That is all we're looking for. We are going for 10 pips only. Please don't be the person who says, well, I wanted to cover my spread, which I've done myself. I'm not in any way insulting. I've made these very logical but damaging decisions. So don't be the person that says, I want to cover my spread. Don't be the person who says, I'm going to go for 13. Be the person who says, I'm going to go for 10 pips, win, lose, or draw. Now, with any other scalping or this one as well, the downside is your stop loss has to be bigger than your take profit, which is poor money management, not good decisions, but it's, in my opinion, the only way to scalp properly, because you still have to give the market room to breathe. Some super tight stop loss is only going to get you knocked out all the time. So in my case, I would use a 20 to 25 pip stop loss. Now, granted, I won't put it on my chart because especially with the 1 minute chart, all that's going to happen is the broker could like wick real quick and then you're out. So if the trade goes against you by approximately 20 pips, you close the trade. So again, this takes discipline. This takes somebody who's not going to let their smart brain outsmart their rule brain. That means you're 25 pips down, you will physically manually close it. There are some other options, including a trade manager. There's this one. I was just telling Jamie I will probably go with the one that Hollywood Vernus Washington recommends. $70 lifetime membership, and it hides your stop loss. And then of course it has some other cool features like applying a trailing stop and all that good stuff. So that is literally all we're doing. Now you can spice this up. You can put our RSI, you can put TDI, you can put ADX. You can do whatever you want to do as long as you're doing it in with the trend and not overbought, oversold. So for example, we would put the RSI on my settings, which are 10. If you're above the 50, you're looking for buys. If you're below the 50, you're looking for sells. TDI, same concept. If you're below the 50 line, you're looking for sells. So you're not taking the overbought, stochastic, you're taking the confirmed ones only, no matter what oscillator you decide to add. Another thing is we added this little arrows to this chart because they don't repaint and they're pretty accurate. So this right here, the white arrow is the binary arrow. It's called the big white arrow. I added it to the group. It's a really good arrow. When you combine this, especially with that little arrow, you've got a really good, strong move. So we officially now have a binary arrow up. This is a good buy. Let's see. We're waiting for it to kind of come back up. Either way, I would have closed out if I didn't close out for purpose of this call in profit already. So binary arrow, same direction as the little arrow. Those are added confirmations for you because again, they don't repaint and they're very, very stable. So to show you the settings on the MACD, last question, last thing is you have to drag and drop 2 MACDs. So let's go over here, which means we are going to go to the actual oscillators on the actual chart. Okay. So that means not something that was dragged or dropped into the group. The actual oscillators, you're going to go to MACD, you drag it once onto the chart, and then you drag it again in the same window. That's how you're going to get them to layer like this. And the settings are as follows. You'll notice that the first numbers you see are 12, 26, and 9. What that means is our slower MACD is on here first, our faster MACD is on here second, so it layers appropriately. If you do it wrong, it will be wrong, and it will not work the same. You will get false signals and you won't understand it. So here are the settings for the slow MACD. It's 12, 26, and 9, pretty standard across the board. Most commonly numbers used in stocks. And then of course the magenta color, please keep this at least the same color if for the signals group or the trade idea group, we're gonna be sharing screenshots. I don't care what the rest of your chart looks like, but this right here, please don't post a signal without this being the right colors. So your slow MACD needs to be like a magenta or a pink. We have this set at 0, we have it set at white, okay? And there you go. You can also choose to make this so you can tell which 0 line, which I'll discuss as we get further down the road. Now we're gonna go to the settings of the slow. Same concept, 5, 15, and 1 set to close. Colors are lime green. Again, please don't bother posting screenshots of the group if your colors are not the same, because you will confuse people and it will not be fun. So I'm all for individual expression, but we have to be helpful too. So you can, do it like that to where you will know that it's the right order by the slow ones in front, the fast ones in the back. You'll know exactly what's going on. So that literally, it took me very few minutes to explain that. So now if anybody has any questions, okay, now is the time. So I will say we can unmute. If you have any questions in terms of how to do this scalping strategy, okay, I will manage.
100.
Wow. Okay. So if you have a question, go ahead and unmute yourself. I want to make this really quick for the people who aren't here today. Chris, I am so sorry that you missed it, but I'm not going back over that because I want to keep this a short video. So if it's short, that means it won't take too much of your time to rewatch it. So
hey, Jenny.
Hey, DJ, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic.
I have a question. As far as the MACDs, when you combine them together, I noticed that when you scroll back, like it adjusts. So how would you compensate for that so that you make sure you get accurate entries? Do you understand what I mean?
So you mean like before this candle closes, it adjusts?
Well, at least on mine, when I scroll back in hindsight, like the MACDs adjust up and down, like they move.
MACD doesn't repaint.
He's talking about the offset between the zero lines. I noticed the same thing.
The offset between the zero line.
Yeah, like when you
wait, no, the zero line is real time. So this is real time. That then it's not it's not as relevant back there. So that's a fair question. Is that what you're saying?
I believe so. For example, I seen an entry last night, and I didn't take it because the green and the pink, well, the pink line did not cross into the green line for a buy. But then as time went on, I looked back at it and it said it did because it adjusted a little bit.
Huh.
I can help answer that question if you like.
Please do, Scott.
It may be your broker's fault.
It has nothing to do with the broker. What happens is that the MACD or any oscillator that sits down in that bottom window, it auto adjusts, it scales itself so that the maximum excursion from top to bottom is filling the whole sub window.
Okay.
So there isn't much way around it using this MACD. I'm happy to write one that will set it up so that the zero lines are aligned. It would take me about 10 minutes today.
Will that still be,
wow. Go ahead. That's awesome.
will that still be as accurate though?
Yes. I did one that was just a dual MACD. I posted it to the group, but it's only giving you the edges of, it would be the actual MACD line. So those edges, and they cross in exactly the same places. It's the same thing. I did not include the signal line, but the other lines are there, but it's not being shown as a histogram. It's being shown as just a line. Like on the fast MACD that you're showing there, the signal line is merged with the tops of the histogram. And it would be just like that line, not that one, Jenny, it would be the green one. So it'd be like that line and the same place on the purple histogram.
Okay. Hey, Scott, first off, if you make something based off of like my strategies, will you make sure you send it to me, please?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand you.
I said, if you make something, will you make sure you send it to me, please?
Yes.
Okay. Well, DJ, I hope that answers your question. I want to keep this as short as possible. Yes, technically you're right. The zero line is for current inputs only. So as you scroll back, it's not going to look the exact same. But the signal line, Scott, just so you know, I'd want to keep that because I use that also as an entry, which I will go over more in depth once we talk about the colors of the zeros too. But I want to keep it simple as possible.
When I write that, what I will do is I will make it look exactly the way that you want it. And you'll only need to put that on once, and I will have already set all of the settings. So you just put the indicator on and it will show the way you want it. So
you're a programmer, huh?
I am.
You're about to be my best friend. I got some ideas for you.
Oh boy. Okay, I need something to keep me out of trouble anyway. That's okay.
Hey, idle hands the devil's playground. So I'm with you. I'm definitely with you. All right. So DJ, I can't promise in terms of how to deal with that later. But again, all we're looking for is this to be below. Okay. And this is going to come back. That's going to stay stable no matter where the zero line is. This right here is still going to be the same. Look, I can't control that the zero line adjusts because it's adjusting to real time. But this process, so this move where the green has now crossed over the signal line, crossed over the pink, that's stable no matter where the zero line's at. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so we gotta try not to overthink it because that's the problem with simple stuff. And then big things and simple stuff, this is buying, by the way. is we overthink it and then we try to outsmart our smarts, and it's never good. So this stays stable no matter what the zero line does. Don't get too complicated about it. It's kind of awesome. So, all right, next question about particularly this strategy.
Oh, hi, Jenny.
Question, Jenny.
I'm going to take the lady first. Hey, Wei, how's it going?
Hi, Jenny. I'm good, thanks. I don't know if I missed this or not, but I wanted to ask what percentage of our account do we all risk per trade?
No, guys, I want to create the we the people kind of thing where, yeah, woohoo, Jenny did this and that's great and that feels amazing. But I want this to be very independent in terms of how we handle this. So your account can only handle what your account can handle. And I don't know your broker, your leverage, your amount of money, how you set up your account. Some people set it up with the ECN. Some people made other options. So essentially, you can't let your margin get below 500. The one steadfast rule I can give you is don't let your margin get below 500. Now, for me and mine, I can pull it up after we come off of this chart to show you. I would say don't go more than 22%-ish, which I went over on the last call, which was recorded. Maybe 20-ish%, because just have some fun with it. You're going to take some losses. This is scalping, and keep in mind your loss is going to be twice as big as your win. And that's okay. It won't break the bank because your accuracy is going to be high enough. But either way, just be mindful. I can't control that. Don't do this on a high spread broker such as AAFX because it's not cost effective. So because we'd be using small brokers such as Hugo's Way that have only 500 to 1 leverage, most of us are using that, then I would say not more than 20-ish%. And that's one trade at a time. That means you are not in any other trade at all. And that takes discipline. So one trade at a time.
Thank you for that. Thanks, Jenny.
You are welcome.
I
Brent?
have a question.
All right, sorry, Greg, go ahead.
Yeah, could you take the 1 minute and make it a little bigger and then explain to us about the fractals once more, please?
Okay, so we're going to go over fractals one more time. Let's see. Now, there's a lot of different ways. So let's go here. Let's go to the time frame that we're looking for. Actually, let's go to the 5 minute. We're going to go with the sell because there's more opportunities here. So on the 1 minute chart, anywhere from this candle to this candle, sorry,
Yes.
we're looking for sells. So remember, we want our price to be below the 50, as well as hopefully our 3 and our 9. Okay, we want them both below the 50. So anywhere in the vicinity and on, we're looking for sells until here. So that means that time on the clock is, let's find out together. So that's, of course, I can't see it.
13:20. I mean, yeah, 13:10.
13:10. So let's go to 13:10 on the 1 minute chart. To see all the different possibilities. Let's take this in real time. And DJ is not wrong in terms of the zero line, but we're not just using the zero line. So that's not too bad. Let's go to 13:10. So anywhere beyond this point, we're looking for sells. We're looking for only 10 pips. And we got to keep in mind, gold has been ranging. So I got to zoom out to make it more viable. So if I came to the chart and I saw this is millisecond by millisecond, not a lot of time in between. What I would be looking for, silly booty, there we go. And I could change this. I did that on my first video. We have a fresh 3 and 9 cross on this candle. And I'm going to make it big. 3. Okay? The 3 and 9 cross here. This fractal, in hindsight, looks like it would have been perfect, but it would not have formed until this candle. Remember, fractals don't form until 2 candles later. If I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure that's accurate. Okay, so that fractal wouldn't count yet. It's not there yet. It wouldn't have appeared to here. So this would be one entry. Our MACD retested, and now we have at least a single line above below the 0. I just dropped this on here kind of playing, looking kind of 50-50 on what I wanted to add, if I wanted to add anything. So anywhere in this vicinity, you have an entry. Okay, you got your pips, but not just that. There's multiple entries in that one spot if it will stay still and not be a silly butt. Okay, so we broke this lower fractal. Do you see that?
Yeah, that's
Low. Okay.
yes.
I'm gonna draw a vertical line.
Man, that thing is all over the place.
I'm sorry, it's a me issue. I did it.
Okay, that's not the shift on your charts.
No, it's my magic. It's an Apple mouse. It's what it is. It's a me problem.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Getting special.
It is. Well, because like
Hey, Derek, how you doing?
if my palm touches the base at all, it just shifts. Okay, so I'm gonna keep it there. Hopefully, keep it stable. We broke this fractal low, so that low, okay, here.
And that's at the bottom of the candle. That's how you break it. It goes to the bottom of the candle.
I don't understand your question. Can you rephrase it?
The horizontal line you have right below the end of the candle, and you said it broke the fractal.
So everyone does this a little differently. I count the break of the fractal at the top tips, okay? Or
Okay.
the low. So the lowest part of these candles right here is here. So
Yes,
my vertical line I drew is based off of the lowest low. You see?
Okay. Okay.
The fractal is just pointing out where it is.
Yes, ma'am.
So here, this is real time. So if you had entered immediately, okay, this is real time. This isn't playing around. Again, you got your pips plus some. So just going off of this next one. Okay, and especially once we get into the trade manager aspect, you'll understand how a lot of times you might close out with only 6 or 7 pips, but you'll win 6 or 7 pips 99% of the time. So this is a scalping strategy. Okay, so that's another entry. I'm going to draw another vertical line. We have 1 is the 9 and the 3 cross. 2, we broke the fractal on that candle, right?
Yes.
3, we remember this fractal would not have been complete until 1, 2 candles later. So here's this, right? But we're kind of coming up. Oh, let's see what that's doing. I'm gonna take off my little line. This would have told me to sell, but I would have wanted to wait until this came back and retested to come back down with my MACD. So the MACD is the most important thing, and it'll give you the very best entries. So I'm still looking for sells because remember we're below the 50. I'm still only looking for sells. I'm not going to take this. So my next entry that I would take is here. Anywhere in that kind of ballpark area. And the reason why is, right, we've got 2 upward facing fractals. I know it's selling, right? So we retested, we have a 3 and a 9 cross, but this right here is the most important thing. We retested and now we're coming back down. The MACD is closing below the 0. It's closing, and so like DJ was concerned about knowing where the 0 was, fair enough. The MACD is closing below the signal line. Do you see that? So we're covering the slow MACD. So anywhere in this vicinity, even if we got the later entry, which would have been here, so let's say we waited for 2 lines on the MAC, so that would give us 1, 2 lines on the histogram. 1, 2. That's kind of still covering the signal line, covering the slow. So let's take the worst entry, not the best entry. Let's say we got in at the worst time. Again, we still got our pips.
Wow.
Okay, and this is all second by second, so that's 1. Well, that's where we first would have been looking. That would have closed out instantly. This would have closed out instantly. We could have taken a couple more in here, but I'm trying to keep it. I don't want to overcomplicate this to where you guys are overthinking it. So again, now I'm just kind of waiting. We're hanging out. We're talking. I'm not liking that this is coming up like this. So I don't see much of an entry here. These fractals are nice, but my MACD is not in line. So we've got some break. This break of the fractal would count. Ready? Our next entry, when we actually broke the fractal, is here. We broke it on that candle, so if we entered immediately, I'm talking milliseconds, immediately, we got our pips, okay? So far in like less than 20 minutes, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 entries, 1 pair, okay?
Wow. Wow.
1 pair, 3, 4 entries. Now, this one I would still take because it broke the fractal and the fast MACD is on top of the slow MACD. Do you see that?
Yes.
The fast MACD is still below the 0 line. Do you see that?
Yes.
That's why I would take it. So now why would I not take some of these other fractals, the opposing fractals or break of a fractal, it's because now we're in this territory where we're waiting for the MACD to tell us something better. So this is a no, now we're kind of going up. That's fine. I'm okay with that. We're waiting. Our next real mode would be, we didn't break below. Let's see. We're still not breaking this fractal low. See how we're still not breaking it?
Yes.
Now we dip below the 0, which would have been really tempting, but we're still not making a lower low. So like, what would keep us out of this trade? Because it's easy to see all the things that we'll take as a winner, but the question is, how do we stop taking the losers, right?
Yes.
So that's really the question you guys need to ask yourself. It's not how to find the winner, it's how to stop taking the losers. So in terms of this trade right here, how do we stop ourselves from taking this loser? That's a simple question. So a simple answer. Technically, we've got a lower arrow. It's in the same direction as the binary arrow. We're still below the 50, so this is really tempting. We've got a 3 and a 9 cross, right? And
Yes.
we're waiting for it to come break below the 0. And we did, really tempting, but we haven't quite made a lower low yet. So this we would stay out of, hopefully, if we're smart enough and we can stop trying to outthink ourselves because we're human. Hopefully we stay out of it because it did not break the lower fractal level. So we're going to keep coming over, looking for our next set of entries. Same story here. We're not making a lower low. So our MACD is telling us, okay, yeah, we've got a little arrow telling us, yeah, we have our 3 and our 9 cross, which is, yeah, but we're still not making a lower low. See?
Yes.
But we're still holding. We're still holding this. We're just hanging out. We're taking it kind of seriously. Okay. Uh-oh, now we've got a binary arrow telling us to look up. It doesn't stay very long. And now here we are. We finally made a lower low. So that would be actually in the same spot. You see this?
Yes.
So if we had jumped right into that trade again, we got our pips. Let me make it big. And so we finally broke below these fractal lows, and that was on this candle. Let's see. That's 4289. This one will be cutting it close for sure. Cutting it close because there's a spread. The spread can widen, you know. But either way, we broke below that fractal level. We have our 3 and 9 cross, and our histogram is telling us to sell. Do you see this?
Yes.
So we need that to break the lower low. We need that. So I'm going to draw that as an entry, and then we'll count up how many entries we took on one pair. Okay. Now we're still waiting. I really like the way that's looking. I like this. But again, we're kind of just playing, we're ranging, we're not quite sure. So let's measure it out. Line by line. We are making a lower low just barely. I mean, that it definitely is making a lower low, but I don't know if I like that too much. I probably want to see it kind of close below this low MACD. So I can't promise I would have taken this better entry. I probably would have waited till I saw some more momentum closing down. Like this candle, because these fractals are too close together. So this is like this ugly point. So if it was me looking at this chart, I'd be looking more at this candle. This is the candle that I would say, okay, now we actually pushed below enough to actually matter. So again, I'm going to draw a line here to say, okay, we broke that lower low. And this was just too much of a baby. And then this one turned green. So I don't know that I would have taken these. But either way, this one would have had us waiting a little bit and maybe going against us some. Let's find out by how much. Worst case scenario, it would have went against us by, just say, 10, 15 pips with the spread. Okay, so we still didn't hit our 20 pip stop loss, 20, 25 pips, right? So that would have, sorry. Okay. Let's scroll over. It would have played around for a while and then we got our pips, right?
Yeah.
Let's see, assuming we took the worst entry. Assuming you missed that, so yeah, you've definitely got your pips, okay? But even if you missed that, here's another entry. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. So let's say we missed this because we were chatting. Well, here we broke below that here. right here. I don't want to draw a line because I only want to count one entry that would win. So even if we miss this and it kind of ranged, we have an entry here when we broke below that fractal. And of course, our fast MACD is below the 0, and we're kind of coming back over to cross above the slow, right?
Yes.
I'm not going to count this one because we're going to count up how many entries we took on gold. That would have won, and now we're turning around. So those were all the entries we would have had on the cells this morning only, okay?
That was 4. That was 4?
Nope, we're going to count them together.
Oh, okay.
I deleted that one because I don't want to give false impression. So remember, one of those lines is where we started looking, okay?
Yeah. Yes.
So that one doesn't count, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4 entries, okay? 4 entries in 30 minutes, okay? Let's just say 4 entries in an hour. We got to give it time to close and time to look. 4 entries that all won 1 pair in 1 hour, okay? That's what we're seeing.
I see why you the best, but go ahead.
Actually, that's more than 4. I just lied to you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, minus the 1, because remember we drew a line at 13:10. So that's 6 entries in 1 hour. Well, 6 entries in that whole time frame.
So one more and we'd be through for the day then, right?
Yep. But this is discipline, ready? So if you guys are going to be the disciplined traders who says, hey, guess what? You know, I'm disciplined, I'm strong, I can do this. That means you are legit going to be the guy who is down $10,000 on a trade and will hit close because you are confident of your rules and you're confident of your probabilities. You're confident of your system. If you're the guy who ends up coming on here and then, oops, accidentally, you know, is fussing with your wife or got bored because, you know, it was a lazy evening, it's raining outside, and you go to try to take a whole bunch more, you're going to lose. You're going to blow your account. It's all psychology, and I promise you're going to mess up. But if you can create rules that you can stick with, you will do exponentially amazing. And if this way doesn't work for you, I've got quite a few others. So we're going to keep growing. We're going to play with this one for at least a month or two, and just see how it goes. This is real trading where you kind of grow your mindset and you become a master trader. I don't like all those, you know, guru terms personally, but just where you learn the skill set, where you are testing and you're doing what you're supposed to do. All right,
Jenny,
go ahead.
can I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
When you're talking about the fractals and you put the line at the fractal low, when the other fractals are forming and they're lower, wouldn't we move that line down to a new lower fractal?
Well, yeah, but I had to keep it there because we took that trade based off of that. Makes sense?
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So we took that trade based off of that fractal break, and then took this trade based off of that fractal break, right?
Oh, okay.
So for conversation purposes, yes, I see what you're saying. So currently, if we were looking for a fractal, let's go over to the 1 minute chart. We're above the 50. We're only looking for buys. Okay. Only looking for buys. Let's see. Silly me. Okay. So right now, what we'd be looking for is we need the MACD to come up, and we need it to break this fractal. Okay. Well, I mean, we've got a 3 and a 9, but our MACD still isn't telling us to go yet. So it's not that our 3 and a 9 crossover is great, and we can wait till it kind of retests here. But the safest entry would be when it breaks here. But from the second this crossed the 50 up, I think this has already given 2 trades. One of them I know I closed just barely above break even, but I did close it in profit, and I only did that for this call. Really all selected. So we'd be looking somewhere in that vicinity. Okay, until this closes below the 50 on this side, then we're waiting. So because our MACD is above the 0 and we're above the 50, we're only looking for buys. We come here, we're only looking for buys. Now, if this, again, stops to follow the rules, so if this goes below the 50, we're waiting. We're going to start looking for sells. And not every day is going to be like you're going to get 10 setups. Some days you're going to be like, oh, I don't like it, it's ugly. But that's what a disciplined trader can see. They're not like so desperate for their next fix that they're just making stuff out of thin air. So you've got to follow rules and keep it simple. So
20 minutes.
Oh, thank you, Jamie. Okay, that's 20 minutes, guys. Any other direct questions that will help you understand this strategy?
Oh, hi Jenny.
Hi Ray, how's it going?
Good, thanks. I was just wanted to ask you, when would you close out at break even? Because you either close out a profit or loss, but what about break even?
For the most part, I just closed that break-even trade so I could do this training without a trade on my screen. I typically don't close out at break-even. Like if I had to walk away or my time was getting ready to come up and it was ranging, so like for example, I'm almost at my 2 or 3 hours, whatever time frame I set for myself, I'll close that trade. But in general, I don't close trades. I will recommend, I haven't set this up accurately yet, so don't take this too much into account, but I will recommend a auto trader. You need one. The one Vernus Washington recommends is great. I think I'm going to get that one because my favorite one I'm not allowed to share with you guys is for a private group. So this one right here is set as following. I haven't really set it up for this. This was just set up for other scalping strategies. So for example, I'd set this like at, let's just say 12 pips. My stop loss is 25. These are hidden though, okay? So once this moves 10 pips in profit, oopsie, and there's a lot of different programs. This is just one. I'm going to lock in 5 pips of profit, right? This one also has a feature that allows you to keep a trailing stop. So once I'm 7 pips in profit, it's going to start trailing me by 1.5 pips. So this it basically means I'll almost never hit 10 pips. If I'm telling you the truth, I will almost never hit 10 pips using a trade manager, but I will also almost never take a loss. So then the amount of trades it takes you to get to your end result will be higher. Granted, I know that's a thing, but if you can find 10 in a day, who cares? So if it takes you 10, it's anywhere from 7 to 10 trades a day, and let's say you take some losses in between, you're talking weeks to become a life-changing amount of money. And if you're smart with it, you put it in some real estate, you don't even need much to live, I promise. Like to live pretty comfortably and pretty well. So to answer your question, trade manager is what you should be using, especially if you're going to scalp with large lot size and you're going to grow this quickly. You can't come in here and move your stake, take profit, and move your stop loss real quick and hide it. It just becomes it becomes a mess. And then your smart brain it talks you into things that you should not be doing. If you have a trade manager on here set, and there are many, I'm probably going to use the one that Vernus recommends only so I can share it with you guys. This one's pretty good too. You want something that's going to manage it for you. So you took the trade based off of your rules, you're good. And now you know that once I'm in 10 pips of profit, it's going to lock in 5. It's going to do its job. And then you're just going to keep busting through. You'll take one trade, you'll take the next trade, you'll take the next trade. So trade manager is what you need. No matter if you're going to become a successful scalper, in my opinion, or a trader at all, you need a trade manager.
Jenny.
Jenny,
Yes.
thank you.
You're welcome. Go ahead.
Well, the trade manager, the one that they suggest it costs like about $80 a month. Is that the other one you're talking about?
Is it $80 a month or is it $80 for life?
I mean, $80 forever. Yeah, I'm sorry, $80 forever.
No, it's $80 for life
Okay.
on all accounts.
Okay,
As
that's
long as you're
fine.
named.
Yeah, I thought that was the case. Again, I haven't used it. I have this one, then I have another one through a private group that works amazingly well. I'm just not allowed to share it because it's coded. So for the purpose of you guys, I think I'm going to go ahead and buy that other one and just get to know it. Because honestly, guys, if you're going to be a successful swing trader or a scalper, having a trade manager is life-changing. It takes away a lot of the dumb mistakes we make, and 90% of trading is not finding a good strategy. 90% of trading is controlling your headspace and like staying consistent. It's understanding your probability and using your edge, right? So
Hey, Denny.
yes, Dave.
Good morning. This is Dave.
Good morning.
Good morning. Just a quick question. Are there particular pairs you scalp over others?
Gold.
Gold. Okay.
Well, there's a lot, and we're still discussing that, and I think that's time for another video, but I want to keep this one short.
Okay.
The thing is, I like GN. I like all the GBP pairs because they move pretty fast and they don't cost a lot in terms of a spread. But you can't do this on a slow mover.
Right.
Do this on. This even works on US 30 and stuff, but US 30 is hard to compound. It's hard to go up to the next lot size, So having said that, like if it was me, I would say let's play this safe. Let's pick a handful of safe pairs. Let's not get silly and and go for the indices.
That's what I was wanting to do, is just focus on maybe 1 or 2 or 3 pairs and just, laser focus on those and not worry about the rest of them.
That's right. So, because that's a good idea. To stay with my train of thought, Jamie says I need to learn to do that. I'm going to stay with my train of thought. So the whole idea is we're going to use this group, and each of us are going to pick a couple of pairs. We will share it in the group. And of course, I'll go live a couple times a week. And we'll look for some setups. I will look at gold. Some of us will look at GN. Some of us will look at GBP USD. And then between all of us, we can share it in that little scalping group we had. That scalping group we had is not meant for chat. It is meant for setups only. And that's it. And it's going to be we the people. So it's going to be awesome.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. I just wanted to
Thank you very much, because there's been a lot of chattering. And I didn't want to be rude. I mentioned it once and it calmed down for like 30 minutes and then it just went buck wild. And it would be good that we use it just for posting trades and they can chatter in the other groups. That would be wonderful.
Chatter in the other groups. And guys, we have so many groups. Oh, sorry. We have so many groups. We don't want to take it out of context. We don't want to overdo it. So that group specifically, just to be super crystal clear for anybody who's using the strategy, is meant to take a screenshot that looks like this. So the screenshot should include the 5-minute and the 1 minute. The screenshot should clearly be able to see the MACD. Because if you truly want to be people helping people, they have milliseconds to look at what you just posted. Literally seconds, okay? I mean, sometimes you might have a minute and you'll pull back or it'll stall out and you'll get a slightly better entry, but 99% of the time, they have milliseconds to make a decision. And with that in mind, you're going to want a trade manager. You're going to want to be able to post something that looks exactly like this, meaning they can see the 1 minute and the 5 minute, the pair name and the price. So if you're not posting that, you're not helping anybody. You're just, no offense, but being an annoyance, okay? You're not helping. If you're going to help people, they need to see the price that it's at. They need to see the pair. They need to see the time, and they need to see both windows. That's going to show them, does it line up? Did it break the fractal? I'm going to go there now. Click, buy. Manager's going to take over. Does that make sense, guys? So please only use that chat for that and nothing else.
Jenny.
Yes, ma'am.
I know this is kind of a crazy question. I'm kind of new. Can you explain to me what the trade manager is? What it's used for?
Yes, ma'am. So a trade manager is essentially an expert advisor. A lot of people try to trade with bots. I don't think most of them work, at least out of my experience. But a bot that is worth having is one that will manage your trade for you. So this is a version of one. I'm going to go to my expert advisor, go to properties, and they all have different settings. I don't want to tell you which is which. Typically, they are based off of points and not pips, so you always have to add a digit. But this one, what it does is it will hide your stop loss and your take profit, okay? Which means the brokers can't see where it's at. I know that the brokers can see everybody else's, so it's not as big of a deal, but it sure does feel nice, okay? Also, it will make it to where, like, if I'm 22 pips, it'll close me out, right? I don't have to take the time to set it, especially when I'm scalping. It does it automatically, okay? I don't have to figure it out or drag and drop. Instead, it'll do it for me. This one particularly will allow me to move my stop to break even or to lock in a few pips. So, like, for example, I'm going to change the settings on this. I don't even know if I'm going to use this one for this, but this one I have currently set it, once I get 11 pips in profit, it locks in 5. I could even say it's going to lock in 7. So I'm almost always closing out in 7 pips. Actually, I want to make that 10. So at 10 pips, I'm definitely closing with 7, right? Let's go to, there we go. So 10 pips, I have to add a 0. This one particularly set up to where it has a trailing stop. So once I'm 7 pips in profit, it will kind of knock me up to like just above break even, essentially. It's not really a win, it's just kind of above break even. And this particular one will work on any chart I have. So if I have a GBP USD trade open and a gold trade open and a Euro JPY trade open, this is gonna manage them all. I don't know if the one that Furnace uses does that. I really hope so. It's kind of the biggest reason why I love this one is because I can drop it on one chart and it will manage every swing trade. So on my swing trade account, it'll manage all of them. On whatever account, it's going to manage all of them. So hope you guys are watching gold.
Jenny, how do you increase the lot size on trade manager?
No, wait, there's no lot size on this.
Okay.
Oh, the one that Vernus uses, I'm going to learn it and then I'll tell you guys, but I don't know at this point. So this one doesn't have a lot size. This only manages it once you enter. It doesn't enter for you.
Oh, okay, so you have to manually enter the trade and then it takes over.
Yeah, there you go. That's the best way to say it. That's well said. So it allows us to take the entry and then it takes over. And honestly, you should be using something like that for everything. This is looking good. So we have one below. The close, we made a lower low on the fractal. Now let's see what it does. Keep in mind, gold has been ranging, but let's just take a look. Essentially, at this point, we're only looking for sells. Broke below that. Let's see. All right, any other questions? Because I want to keep this recording uber short so people can actually watch it.
I want to watch it like 20 times.
Okay. That's awesome. All right, going once. Going twice. All right, I'm going to hit stop recording. If it will let me do that. All right, anybody else? Don't be shy.
Hey, Jenny, I have one quick question. I'm new as well. These templates and indicators you're using, are these ones you've sent out, or we just need to Google them, or what do you recommend there?
I don't recommend you ever trying to get a template from anybody because they don't typically transfer well. Just in theory, it's a great idea, but different brokers and different setups, it's just too many variations. So you need to create a template by yourself that has a 3 and a 9, and that's me being very loving because this is going to be your career. This is how you're going to retire. So let's treat it well. You're going to create a template with a 50 SMA, 3 and a 9 EMA, and the math Ds I already went over. You're going to add the fractals, okay? And then you can add the little arrow, which is super easy's arrow, and you can add the binary arrow, which is called the white arrow. It's mine, or it's the We the People's, and it's in our little side group too. So
Great, thanks.
Yeah, the only indicator that you don't have is probably the binary arrow. Everything else you have, or you should have in theory.
Jenny, morning, Jenny. I came in late, so what I want to know, this strategy is it did you explain it before? Because I mean, I listened to the recording, but I just want to know if all the information is there.
David, I just explained everything. So anybody who came in late, I went over everything to the best of my ability. Please watch it from the beginning. If from there you still have questions, then we can go over it on another day. Okay.
Okay, thanks. Also, can I be added to that group where you're going to be sending signals?
These are not signals. These are We the People. I don't want to call them signals. This is We the People sharing ideas.
Okay, yeah.
But yes, you can be added. I will drop the link again in this chat, and then I'm going to have Donna start changing the link or something. Let me do that real quick while I'm talking. Anybody else?
Good morning, Jenny. This is Akbarat.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. I hope you had a great weekend.
Yes, ma'am. And yourself?
Good. Yes, it was relaxing. Want to ask you a quick question. Sorry, I'm a slow learner. Everyone, if this is a repetition, I apologize. You just mentioned about Fractor. Where exactly is that located? Not too sure.
Williams. It comes with every MT4, so it's under Bill Williams, and it's called Fractals.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
You are welcome. Let's see. Anybody else?
Hello, Jenny. I just wanted to ask about the big white arrow. Mine wasn't in the same places as yours. Have you changed the settings, or is it the default?
Could be different brokers, guys. It could be the fact that you're on a demo account or a live account. It could be a multitude of things. I can't possibly control all those. My settings are the same as your settings. Okay.
Hey, Jenny, this is going to have to be the last question because of the fact of the time restraints that you told me to remind you of.
Yep. Okay, guys, that's it. So I'm not taking any more questions. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording. I just want to keep this simple.